Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You are at the best podcast on the planet. Yes, indeed. This is the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never done. Today, we have Kanchan Bhaskar. I'm so glad I took my time to say that. It's a beautiful name. This is a very, very smart woman. She is the author of not one, but more than one book. She's the mother of three. She's a businesswoman, an HR professional. She's retired now. She's living her best life, but she's not just sitting on a stump. She's pouring into other women that have been victims of domestic violence, that maybe by no fault of their own, they were involved in an arranged marriage. Those are still happening now. They're very prevalent, but they're struggling and they're having self-doubt. They don't think that there's any way out. But Kanchan is going to talk to us about that and so much more. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Kanchan?
I am good, April, and I'm so happy to be here with you, uh, your popular podcast. And through this, I would like to give a message to the other woman, as you said. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your story and how you show up in the world.
So, my story starts with, with a very blessed life that I was born in and brought up in a very progressive environment where my parents, they nurtured us. They were literally in love with each other. That's what I saw while growing up. They cherished each other and they nurtured each other. And that is what my perception about a marriage was, that a woman has to be respected, period. There was no question of having any physical beating or anything like that, or even an emotional torture uh, on the woman that you get married to. But then my husband, who I got with in an arranged marriage, did not share that perception. He turned out to be an alcoholic, an abusive, and a very aggressive narcissist. So
Mm.
when the arranged marriage, and let me tell you a little, in one sentence, what arranged marriage is in India. They are very popular in India still, but when I was growing up and when I got married in the early 80s, or rather 80 itself, the arranged marriages were almost like 95% of the population was going through arranged marriages. And now I think they have decreased to say 70% or so. So still in the rural areas and the interior areas, the arranged marriages take place, wherein the boy and the girl, their elders, their parents, they decide who the would-be match would be. So they do the matchmaking.
Okay, now let me kind of interject there because there's a couple questions I want to ask there. Now the parents decide, so the parents must know the parents of the other participant, and they have a meeting or whatever it is, and they feel that that their two children are compatible. Is there a dowry paid from from the girl's family to the boy's family for marrying her? That seems different
Yeah.
here in the United States. Is more the young man would pick the wife. So you tell me, how does that work?
So yes, dowry. This particular norm has been there for ages now, and when the girl gets married, she takes the dowry with her, meaning that she either takes a lot of gold, of certain value, or she takes cash with her, or she's asked to bring even something like a car, or it's demanded by the boy's family, saying that the boy would like to have a car or a motorcycle or a property in his name, but in
Let
different.
me, I'm sorry, I just want to ask a cultural question because I don't know. Why is it that the woman has to pay to be bought? I don't understand what that means. Is there a perceived lesser value on the female than on the male?
Yes, yes, yes.
Ah,
So historically, if you see in any patriarchal society, and India is a patriarchal society where men is supposed to be the God Almighty, he has the power, he can have the control, but the woman is supposed to be serving that man. So when she is married, it's like doing a favor to the girl's family, that we are going to take your girl with us, or the would-be bride in our family. And so she has to get certain amount or certain kilos, so to say, of gold with her. But like I said, different states in India has a little bit different norm, in the sense that on the southern side of India, it is too common, and the girl is almost weighed,
mm.
in and equal amount of gold is to be given. So if she's weighing, say, 100 pounds, they have to give 100 pounds of gold. So
Okay,
it
but my whole thing is okay. So the girl goes through a lot. She really goes through a lot because she has no choice. She's being sold by her parents for a suitor. And also, educate me on this. Is there is a, I don't know, written law, unwritten law, that you are to stay with this person? There's no divorce.
Yes, yes. So the divorces have not been there. I wouldn't even say that they are not common. They are not there, period. They were not there when in the 80s and the 70s, because typically the arranged marriages happen within that society or within that community, that, like you said, one family knows the other family. So it is like looked down upon if the girl asks for a divorce. The families then get broken with each other, the relationship then doesn't work. So it is said, I mean, it is an unwritten norm, or not a ritual, but a norm itself, that once a girl gets married, her dead body will only come out of that house.
Wow.
That is imbibed in our heads. So that is one big reason that becomes ingrained in our heads when we get married, that there is no way, I have to accommodate, I have to make adjustments with this man, whether he's a handicap, whether he's mentally retarded, or whatever that is. You
Mm.
have to live with that man. That has been the ritual for ages and ages. But things are changing, like in every society, it's
And there
developing.
and women are saying no to that. I've had a
And
few Indian women that have been on that have said no. I'm
yes,
not doing that. But
yes.
that is come with maybe leaving India and becoming more westernized. You know, uh,
Not really Indian society itself. It is now the urban society has expanded to almost 25% from 5% when I was there. So the urban women are educated now. And they are getting empowered. They know the laws, they understand the whole, the family system, the norms, the everything. And
and
they
they're
have.
very smart. They're getting these great jobs. They're becoming doctors and
Yes.
lawyers, and they are really being able to be self-sustainable and take care of themselves. Let me dial back one more page. Was your mother and father's marriage an arranged marriage as well?
They were, that was a typical marriage of love and arranged together. So my dad saw my mom in that community, and he fell in love with her. And she equally, when he saw him first time, went and asked her mom whether, who's this good looking guy in our vicinity. And And then it so happened that I don't know, not many guys may know, people may know that India and Pakistan, they got divided into two countries at the time. And that was exactly the time that my parents got married. So once he fell in, kind of a love at first sight kind of a thing, he went to her mother to ask for her hand. And
Wow,
that's,
that's beautiful. And
yeah.
did you share that with your mom though? When they decided that you would get an arranged marriage, did you have the opportunity to kind of go to the side and say, "Mom, I don't know if I like this dude. Uh, can you give me any instructions on this? Did she prepare you for being a wife? What all that meant? Sexually, spiritually, financially? Were you prepped in any way?"
So, April, as far as I was concerned, or I am concerned, like I said, I belong to an educated family. My parents were both professional working people and they were very modern looking. So there was no ban on me as such. I was not told that you will have an arranged marriage only. I was given the liberty to look for a boy, for a match for myself. But then I've typically moved in groups, and somehow I did not pick up one particular person for myself. Um, all my classmates typically were not employed at the time, and I was going to get married because there is an age gap. When a girl gets married and a boy gets married, a girl is typically, at that time it was 22 to 25, and the boy would be 27, 26 to 28, something like that.
So if you got married at the age of 30, you were an old maid at that point.
At that point, yes, yes.
Wow. Because I guess also too, the philosophy and tradition of women all along is that they want you during your prime because that's childbearing years.
Yes.
You know?
True.
So moving forward, you get married. How long was it before you realized that this was not the man for you?
2 weeks.
Oh no.
2 weeks after marriage. We had met only a couple of times before marriage, between engagement period and the marriage period, which was 6 months. But he was living far away from Delhi. I'm a New Delhi girl, and he was living far away, employed, about almost 400 miles away. And we used to write to each other during this 6 month period, but we met only twice for maybe like not more than an hour over a coffee, not even a dinner. So, but he had a very, I would say, deceptive looks. He looked very charming. He had a very affectionate smile. He talked very smooth, like typical narcissist are. So I got very attracted to his intelligence. He was intelligent man. He asked me, intelligent questions, and so we got along very well. I was happy. I thought, my parents and me, we have made a good choice, and my dreams are going to be met. Typically, a Prince Charming, every girl's has their dreams.
Well, when did he turn it? You said in 2 weeks he turned into a monster. Did he start speaking to you roughly, or did you start noticing the drinking, or?
Yeah. So, I got married early December, and 31st of December was the um, New Year's Eve,
Mhm.
within 2 weeks. So we had gone for his office party, and we were all there in the party. He had left me with certain, strangers. I had not known anybody in that place yet. I had just moved there. So he went and, he started to drink, and he kept drinking for, whatever period we were there, 2 3 hours, and he
Hmm.
wouldn't come near me. I couldn't find him anywhere, in the crowd. He was all somewhere. And before we left the place, I heard some loud noises coming from outside, and people were already leaving. And then I went outside to see where this man is, and I saw him, literally fighting with another person, and they were literally at each other, and I got scared. So when I took his arm and I took him home, that is the time he started to blabber and talk. And, all the details are there in the book, though. But, that's how he started to talk about my parents, my family, and how bad the marriage was, and what a person I am, and all of that. And then, it was a great surprise to me. It was a shock when he slapped me one on my
Oh,
face.
wow.
I was so shocked that I didn't even realize that he had slapped me because it was so hard and so, like with full force, that when it started to burn like the red mark, and I realized, oh my God, he has slapped me just now. And, I just got up from there. I said, please leave me. He was holding my wrist and he wouldn't leave me. And I said, please, I begged it. I went to the bathroom and I thought he's going to do it again, but then I went to the bed and I slept that day. But that slap never ended. That one slap became, two slaps, and then the push and the twisting of the arms, and then, it was a proper.
Okay. Now, did you ever go back and I'm sure that your family being very progressive, your mother and your father, they understanding what intimacy and love actually means. Did you hide this because of the tradition that you did not want to be shamed, that you did not want to bring embarrassment to the family? Did you hide this as a secret? Did anybody ever know?
From my family, I hid because my dad was a heart patient and he had some minor strokes, heart strokes already. And I knew that he loved me so much that if I tell him that, somebody was doing this to me, he's going to have heart attack. So that was one big reason I hid from my parents. And the rest of the society, I knew that I'll be shamed. Society was not on my side. I lived with him for a long time. The law was not on my side. The attorneys were not on my side. The society was not on my side. I was all alone, fighting
Okay,
all
but
alone.
okay, the thing is, did you seek out help, or was this just something that was manifesting in your own mind? And the reason why I ask this question is because there's a young woman out there right now that is saying, "Hey, I don't have any resources." Are and I know that you're saying things are a lot more progressive now, but um did you kind of say, hey, let me ask if there's somebody out here that might help me? Is somebody else going through this? Or do you just say, no, I'm going to stay here and try to, maybe he'll get better, maybe he'll stop drinking, maybe this will work out?
All of that happened, April.
Wow.
All of that happened. So initially, for many years, I kept thinking that he can improve. I can improve him. I am a master's in social work. So, my thought process was that people can improve. But in my thought, I didn't have that perception at that time that they can improve only if they want to.
Mm,
If
mm,
they don't want to, they will not change.
wow.
That came to me much later in life. And then by the time I realized after many years that he's not going to change and this is becoming worse, and now my children are getting affected.
Right.
So that is the time I started to look for help. Those were not the Google days. We didn't have computers, we didn't have Google at the time. So I had to look for really research as to a good lawyer, where I can go. And I was fearful of him too. If he comes
Right.
to know going to lawyers, then God knows what would happen. So
Absolutely.
the lawyers would tell me, they would embarrass me, they would say, oh, ma'am, so you are looking for a divorce. What is it that's happening with you? And I would say that he hits me. And they said, but why does he hit you? What are
Mm,
you doing to him? And if I say that, he gets drunk and then he does that, and they would say, but that's not a crime. If he's drinking and beating, it's not a crime. There is no law against it.
wow. That's
So
hard. So now you have, so now you're into this relationship with this man. You're locked in. You have three children. Were they were they all small at the same time, or were they kind of stagnated? Yeah.
3 years. So my daughter was born within 11 months of my marriage.
Wow.
And my twin boys were born after 3 years of my daughter because there was no precaution being used.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know. In certain cultures, is that a conversation that you have with your mom before you get married, that she preps you that this is going to happen? Because I'm under the assumption that for most of these young women, their virginity is a part of the dowry. We don't
Oh
want
yeah,
you we don't want you to have, somebody that's been all over the place.
absolutely.
She's damaged goods. We want to give you a nice girl that's going to be honorable and respectable. But then the mindset to you is very still childlike because you haven't been exposed to these things. Oh,
Yeah.
that could be devastating. So you have these three children. Um, and you're still going through all of this. He did not try to subside or treat you any better once you had the children.
No, no. It kept on increasing day after day. It just kept on increasing because his alcoholism, earlier it was like, initially it was like in the evening he would start, and then it became like, anytime during the day, and then he was out of jobs and he would sit at home and start drinking from the morning. By the time I would come home, I in the book I've written that too, I became financially independent because I wanted my children to have a good upbringing, and he was out of jobs. So I was educated, so I got a job, became financially independent. And that's again a story wherein an angel came into my life and gave me a little jolt that, what are you doing to yourself? You're an educated girl. Go and, go out and look for a job. You become independent. You will gain confidence. You'll meet people. You are just like a vegetable right now. Look at you, with all these three children sticking to you. And once you become financially independent, then you can decide whether you want him in your life or you don't.
Exactly.
So
You have
in
more of but a lot of times that's a part of the control. They alienate you from your family, they
yes,
isolate you. You don't have any friends. They talk to you to where you're nothing without them. They are superior, you are inferior, and they don't allow the wife to work, or if they work, they take all of the money. So at least there was a window of opportunity for you there to be able to meet your way into financial independence. What would you say to a woman, Kanchan, that is in a situation like that right now? What advice would you give her? Where would she begin?
so the first thing that I would say is speak up. You have to share this with your family first. You have to share it with your friends. You have to share it with your neighbors. You have to share it with your colleagues. There is no shame in sharing. It is the perpetrator who should be shameful, not you. So why are you getting embarrassed? The society should know what's going on with you. That is number one. And also, I think some of the women, they don't even realize that they are being victimized. They think this is normal life. But it is not normal to be slapped. It's not normal to be pushed around. It's not normal to be, emotionally that somebody is demeaning you and being disrespectful to you. Or, financially that somebody is, trying to just keep you away from money and your family and everything. So yes, the first step is to know, be aware that you are being victimized, and then you visualize the freedom. You look at the freedom and you see that, wow, what freedom can do to me and what a life I can have. And that is the time that you make a commitment and say, okay, I am going to be free. And that is when you start to make a roadmap to be free. But before that, make sure that you are safe. When you have to be free, there could be so many situations where the perpetrator comes to know, and it could get ugly. So you have to make sure that you are in a safe place. Make sure that your documents, your car keys, something like that is kept outside the house, so that if you have to run out, then you have all that available outside and you can swiftly go out. So yeah, I
That's
would say
good. So ladies and gentlemen, because there are men that get abused too. I don't always just
yes,
like to say just women. Use your words, use your voice, have a strategy. If you get $100 a month for groceries, spend 85 and tuck that other 15 away.
absolutely.
And also think about your desire. Think about your dreams. What do you want for you?
Yeah,
Do you want to be an artist? Do you want to be a baker? Do you want to be an accountant? Do you want to go back to school? Because once you come to the realization that you are going to break free from this enemy, you have to have a blueprint and some direction on where you want to go. You don't
exactly.
want to just sit there, become depressed. Maybe you'll start using, substances to self medicate. Maybe
Yeah,
you become cruel to your children because, again, you're offboarding a lot of this anxiety that you have suppressed all this time. So, counseling, coaching is paramount. Now, you have these three children. Um, I always like to ask about their well being as well. They're seeing this. A lot of times people will say, oh, the children don't know. Let me tell you something. The kids know more than you think that they know.
absolutely.
They
Yes.
hear everything. They hear things when mama's not there, what daddy's doing. They see what mama's going through when daddy's not there. And
Yeah.
this is epigenetic. This is generational trauma. You have two sons that are looking at this man,
Yes.
model, father. You have your daughter. The first man that your daughter falls in love with is their father, like you did with yours, like I did with mine. It's
Yeah.
very convoluted. How did you help them settle into the fact that, you know what, we're going to start a new life, we're going to leave?
Yes, April. I was very, very concerned about my children. And my thought was always that what wrong have they done that God has given them to us in this disgruntled and broken family? So I have to rear them up just as I was brought up. So that was my main focus. That became my main focus. And when the attorneys told me that you cannot have a divorce, if you have a divorce, then all the three children will be divided. So I said that is unacceptable to me. None of my child will go to them. So when I made a decision that I will live in this relationship till they turn 18, as I was told, um, I strategized at that time, and that was a part of my roadmap. And that is where I became financially independent. And by the time children were 9 years old, I put them out in boarding schools. They were out of my house.
Oh,
I
wow.
at that time think that, oh, my motherly feelings and their attachment to their mother. I said no. If they rear up in this house, they will be deviants. They will be, God knows, sociopaths. All these children, they poor things, they suffer. And
Wow.
my daughter, she came back from the boarding school within 1 year. She said that, Mom, I don't want you to be alone with this man. She was 13 by that time. She came back home, but she suffered a lot when she grew up.
Oh,
She
bless
went
her.
through acute depression. She went through all the medications, and God knows, it was extreme. But it was all, sometimes I felt guilty, but then, I went through my therapy and whatnot. So uh, she went through that. Yes. Children do suffer.
You come to a point in your life where you say, I have to forgive. I can't forgive for any other reason but to alleviate myself from this anxiety, from this hurt. Because if I don't, I will carry it and this person will always have control. What was your aha moment, Kanchan? When did you surrender?
So there were two aha moments for me during the whole path or the journey. One was when I got divorced. I literally jumped in the air, literally, and called all the people that I knew in this world to tell them, I am free.
Mm,
I am free today. I can do whatever I want in life now.
mm.
And that took 23 years with him. But the second aha moment came to me on my spiritual journey. I started my spiritual journey much earlier before I got divorced. I was always a spiritual person, and I followed the path a little bit. During those 23 years it was very difficult for me to meditate and do all those things, but I did somewhat. I created space for myself, sitting in a corner and doing some visualizing, creative visualization, and just visualizing the whole mountains and the oceans and the flowers and the birds, and just create some space in my head for myself. So I did all those tools I use, which are there in the book too. And forgiveness and acceptance came to me uh, during my journey itself. That acceptance, the whatever universe is bringing my way, just accept it. uh, don't resist it, because it will be tough then to for you to live that life. And forgiveness came to me in 2013, when my daughter got married and I came back home after the marriage. Of course, we had not called him invited. He was not invited. My daughter said, "Don't even take his name, mom." I asked her, "Do you want him to be here?" And she says, "No way." So he was not there. But when I came back in the plane, it's from India, it's a 14 hours flight. So I'd been thinking about it, and I thought that no, I think I need to forgive him now. And like you said, I had to rise from my pain, from my hurt, which I thought I had risen out. I had moved on, and I didn't even think about him all these years. But somewhere after the wedding, I thought, no, I need to do that. So I called him. I came back, I called him. I had his number at that time. Now we don't have. And I told him that, I wedded your daughter, our daughter. And he was trying to, again, raise his voice and shout at me. And I said,
Wow. So he was still in that controlling narcissistic
yes,
mindset, huh?
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I said, listen, my job was to tell you. It was not even my job, but I just felt like telling you she is your daughter too. So I've told you, and that's it. That's my relation with you, and I forgive you for whatever has happened. And
Wow.
I just banged the phone. That's all.
Well, you know what? That took courage. That took courage because a lot of people would have said no. But again, it was cleansing. It was closure for you.
Yes.
That's what we have to do is we have to find closure. It's not going to erase the past, brains.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But the things that don't kill you are the things that make you strong.
Yes.
So you've taken all this knowledge, this pain, this the self love, the work that you've done on yourself, your therapy, and you put it in the pages of a book. Do you have
Yes.
the book there with you?
Yes, I do.
Look at that. Let me
It's
see.
called Leaving: How I Set Myself Free from an Abusive Marriage.
Wow, it's pretty popular too. I checked it out on
Yes.
Amazon. A lot of people are finding it, and I love it because it's culturally um, aware. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that suffer from domestic violence, but when you see women from other countries, that the conversation of divorce is never there. The conversation of dating is never there. The conversation of sexuality and responsibility is never there. Having a baby, what that looks like, it's just do as you are told. I
Yeah.
want these women to pay close attention to this. There are so many countries, Asian countries, African, Indian, Indonesia. I mean, we could just go on and on and on, where sometimes the girls are relieved that they're getting from up under their parents. But as they say, they jump from the pot to the frying pan.
Oh, yeah.
Once a woman has found her independence and gained her independence, um, there's a new awakening there. That's a
Yes.
challenge too, to settle into that because it's unfamiliar. What do you say to that, young woman?
So, April, in my case, I would say it wasn't unfamiliar to me. I just had to revisit it, rediscover it, recreate it. Because I had a good life. I had seen independence. I had seen freedom. I had seen Kanchan, the bubbly Kanchan, the laughing Kanchan all the time. So I had to recreate it. It was difficult. It was not easy. But once I was committed that I want that Kanchan back, I built boundaries around people. I was with positive people. I had, good relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
If there were some boundaries, even with my own children, so don't think that I'll pick up the phone every time you call me. If I'm busy, I'm not going to pick up the phone.
Mm.
So don't complain to me. I have my own life too. So yes, I did all of those things. Self love was the first thing that I started with, building myself. self-care, self-love, self-preservation, self-compassion, all of those things I started. And then I started rewiring, wherein, my whole hurt, I tried to erase that hurt from my mind by rewiring. I did creative visualization. And then my belief in universe and belief in spirituality brought me angels and brought me close to my soul.
That's a great segue. I want to hear about this angel. You told me a little bit about the angel. Would you share that with us a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, at that time, I didn't know so much about what a universe is. An Indian girl not exposed to so much of, the terms and everything. I knew I had faith in a higher power for sure. But, I didn't realize at that time that there were some magics that are going to happen in my life, or some angel will come in my life. But, I on that path of mine, whenever I was totally sad and depressed, and I would look up at the sky and say, God, please help me. I always thought, I'm your blessed sheep. I always thought you are my father. Why aren't you helping me out? Please do that. And from somewhere, somebody just like you, April, you are coming on my base. You meet me somewhere in a coffee, just suddenly. You're coming across me and start talking to me. And then you say, but you look like an educated girl to me. Why don't you start working? And that is the angel for me.
Wow.
April is the angel for me, because so many people have told me start working, but it never hit me. But today, April has told me it just hits me. I go inside, I give my three children to my mother, I go into the bathroom, I cry a little more, and then I raise my neck, I erect my spine, I splash some water on my face, I put a bun of my hair in a bun, I put a coal, and then I say, this is the Kanchan I'm going to become.
Wow.
That is what angels did to me.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
And there is not one, but the 6 or 7 that I've mentioned in the book. That
Wow.
all these things, they changed my life. They changed my
And
life.
and the thing of it is too, Brains, I need you to be conscious. I need you to be awoke. I need you to be in the present. If you are so depressed about what happened yesterday or 5 years ago, you're lost.
Yes,
You are so um, futuristic about what and concerned and anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow, you're confused. What you need to do is kind of just sit in the moment, in the present, and understand, appreciate, and be grateful for what you have. Know that there are options. Know that there is another source, whatever, however you want to reach it, connect with it. But there is something bigger, better, and greater that
absolutely.
protects us and loves us and honors
Yes,
us. And
right.
that out. Work with great people like Kanchan that are coaches, that have been there, that understand your pain, that will listen to you without judgment, that will give you options, that will let you pour your heart out to them, and they will be there to support you. There is, I get goose pimples. I know that there is hope for you. Please, Keshan, tell them how to get in contact with you, how to purchase a copy of the book, just how to share in the experience, and you help them grow and develop and become better.
Yeah, sure. I have a website by the name kanchanbhaskar.com. So my first name, last name.com. It's KANCHANBHASKAR.com. So you'll know more details about me in there, what profession I had been, and what all my experience in life has been. I'm a voluntary coach in the state of Illinois right now, and I'm also coaching. My coaching website is actually just being what do they call? They're just redesigning it. It's called kanchanbhaskarcoach.com. But you can have more information about the book on my website. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, all the stores. And I repeat, it's called Leaving, How I Set Myself Free from an Abusive Marriage. So if you type Leaving by Kanchan Bhaskar, you can get it.
And I'm going to put all the information at the back of the interview. I encourage you to please, reach out for help. There is help. There is a new
Yes.
beginning. Think
Oh,
about
yeah.
your children, if nothing else.
Yes.
Be careful. Have a plan. You want to leave a powerful message for those that are still being held captive. Share that with them.
Yeah, sure, April. One thing that I really would like to share is for the survivors like me who have been able to escape and come out on the other side. They should step out. They should not go behind the closed doors once again, fearful of the perpetrator. What will he do? Just, once you're free, let's all get together and give our voice to these silent victims who are being tortured, who are in trap, and they do not know what to do with their life. Our collective voice can become powerful, and we can become the change agents for this society to change.
Absolutely. And, God bless you. So I thank you, Kanchan, for
Thank
being here with us on the Edge. Brains, I would like for you to please go in and love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Follow both of us. Share this with someone that is struggling right now. Be conscious, but the first thing I need you to do is look in the mirror and say, I love me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Uh,
much, Kanchan. You're the
yeah.
best.
Thank you so much, April.
Bye, brains.
Yeah.